Over to our colleague Alecia Reid. An apparent tornado turned deadly last night in Upper Dublin Township, Montgomery County.
That's right, Alecia. You have a look at the damage there. So we're hearing that a woman was killed when a tree fell onto her house. This is just heartbreaking to hear, Alecia.
Absolutely, and reality is setting in for a lot of neighbors here today. Many people have not gone to work. Children are not in school. They're here taking in what is happening in their neighborhood. And right behind me, this is the home. You can barely see the remnants of what's left of that home that tree fell on top of last night. The neighbor next door that we can see that house standing there still. They heard the loud bang. They were in their basement hiding from whatever it is that was happening outside. They heard the loud bang. Eventually, that neighbor tells me his wife came out to check. That's when she saw the husband of the woman who is now deceased outside. They took him inside. Basically, that tree fell through their roof during that rainstorm last night, and unfortunately, that woman lost her life. We're hearing today that 3 people in Montgomery County have actually passed away from this rainstorm, 2 from a flooding, and that last person, this individual that was in this home, from a tree falling on top of their house. People are just a mess today trying to figure out what's happening right next door, 2 houses down. That neighbor has been on the phone all day talking to his insurance company. They also have a tree on their house on top of their cars. We spoke to another neighbor that lives right down the street, and he says he's dealing with the same thing, trees on top of his home today. A lot of statesmen walking the area, canvassing the damage. We're being told the township police department and that entire building having severe damage today. Officers coming into work cannot go to work because they can't have access to the building, so they are getting a lot of support from surrounding agencies. And again, here live, you can see this home behind me is barely visible. We're being told the woman is actually still inside of the home. They're waiting for this tree company to finish taking all the trees off and cleaning up all the debris from the streets before the coroner's office can come in and do damage. Of course, we're going to be following this for the entire day. There's just so much damage in this area. Neighbors are coming by to express their condolences to the husband of that victim. We're told his family is now here with him. They're all inside of that neighbor's house, supporting him in this time. And again, Jim and Janelle, just a really tragic day for Montgomery County, for the people in this neighborhood. And of course, we'll stay on top of this and bring you the latest in our evening newscast. Reporting live from Fort Washington, Alecia Reid, CBS 3 Eyewitness News.
And Alecia, just wanted to ask you, it's just so devastating to hear that that woman succumbed to her injuries. Do you know at this point if anybody else was inside of their home with her at that time? You mentioned her husband. Was he in there, and did he just manage to escape?
That's correct, Janelle. We don't know the exact details behind how the woman passed away, but from what we're told, her husband was at home with her at the time that tree came crashing down. Where they were as far as the vicinity of the house, we're not sure, but she managed to get hit and unfortunately was killed. That husband surviving and managed to get out of the house, actually, and a neighbor, his neighbor for many years, coming outside and seeing him there. Obviously, you can only imagine what he was going through in the middle of a storm, the roof caving in, his wife being injured at the time, possibly not knowing if she was dead or alive. But, at this hour, we're hearing she is still in the home, and these crews are working as fast as they can to get those trees off so officials can get inside of that house.
Alecia, earlier this morning we were talking about Upper Dublin High School. They had some damage to their buildings there. Have you been able to swing by that area, or have you been remaining in this one particular neighborhood?
Well, Jim, we've had crews throughout this entire neighborhood. We just had one of our photographers, Ed Spade, pull up. He's been trying to get to us for the last 45 minutes to an hour. So there are a lot of streets that are closed off because of down power lines and down trees. My photographer, Casey, he's been here all morning. He's canvassed a lot of areas before I was able to get here. But once I got here, I've been in this spot the entire time. But we do have a lot of footage with a lot of damage that's happening just in this surrounding area.
So Alecia, tell us, just curious before you go, your drive to that region, what was that like for you this morning? And have you seen from your perspective that the damage is widespread, or does it appear to be more isolated?
You can see, Janelle, actually the line of damage before they confirmed it was a tornado. You know, people in the area were trying to figure out, was it a tornado, was it just a really bad storm? But you can see the singed trees, you can see, you know, the buildings torn down, and, you know, automatically people were assuming, yes, it was a tornado. The ride here was rather difficult. It took me some time to get here because of closed streets, closed roadways, flooding. So my GPS definitely took me on the back roads, and there was a lot of traffic there as well. So it just took quite a bit of time getting around. And even once you're in the area, it still takes you a lot of time because there's so many down trees and power lines and closed streets.
It's going to be a long weekend. It's going to take days for all this cleanup. Thank you, Alecia. We appreciate it. We'll check in with you a little later on.
All right, and we're going to head back.